Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. The end of another week, the end of another poll. We've got a very clear win for the Aztlan sourcebook for Shadowrun. Now as usual, I'll cover that in the desktop in a wee second, and I'll be back at the end of the video with some other channel related stuff and some other poll related stuff. Before I do that, I'd like to take a moment to talk about my patrons, who, after the last few weeks, I've come to appreciate so much. These guys are just the best. And their support of the channel has helped it through a very sticky patch. So, my heartfelt thanks to them. Now, I'll go back to offering my flippant compliments to them as I usually do from next week, but I just wanted to be absolutely honest this time how much I really do appreciate these guys. They are just great. Now, if you'd like to join them and you'd like to help support the channel, or you'd like to see these videos a week early, or you'd like access to one of the other things we offer at different levels of patronage, then we've got a Patreon in the link down below. If you check it out, it'd be very much appreciated. But let's have a look at the Aztlan sourcebook. So, this is the Aztlan sourcebook, a Shadowrun sourcebook. It's for Shadowrun, fairly obviously. It's by FASA and it came out in 1995. Now, this is a sourcebook about the fictional country of Aztlan, which is in Central America. It's taken over from Mexico, it contains Panama, lots of other countries around there, even has seized parts of what used to be the United States of America. Of course, UCAS is the replacement for the United States, the United Canadian and American States. But parts of Texas, California, all the sort of border states have been seized as Aztlan has expanded. Now, this sourcebook obviously centers on the corporation which rules. Because before I read this book, all I really knew about Aztlan was it was controlled by Aztechnology, which are the big bad guys of the Shadowrun universe. They use blood magic and all that sort of thing. But this sourcebook does such a good job in fleshing out the country. It not only incorporates all of that side of things, as well as detailing how Aztechnology grew out of drug cartels, which details why it's such a different corporation to the other megacorps which rule the Shadowrun world, but also goes into various things of Central American culture and modern world. You know, it even mentions, for example, how football, the European version, not American football, soccer as it would be for Americans, is incredibly popular. It makes it part of the real world, taking the current world forward instead of just forging this empire built on magic, which is kind of all I thought about it being. You know, its hooks back into Earthdawn are mentioned in here, and perhaps this sourcebook covers the links to the Earthdawn world and ancient magics and all that far more than any of the other Shadowrun sourcebooks. But it concentrates on how it evolved from a modern country into the fictional future one. Now let's have a look at the back cover. Secret leaders, corporate government, tight borders, constant wars, strange magic. Only one place has it all in 2056, Aztlan, the world's only corporate nation. Built on the drug trade, consolidated country by country through ruthless business deals, run by a powerful and mysterious corporation, and sustained by a national faith in the Aztec gods. Aztlan can be a runner's greatest dream or his most chilling nightmare. For at the heart of war-torn Aztlan lies Aztechnology, a potential motherlode of paydata and newtech, an almost certain source of death. Listen carefully to the rumors and judge for yourself which are true or false. Aztlan guards its secrets well, and Aztechnology will kill to keep that way. The Aztlan sourcebook describes the people, history, economy, and current affairs of the nation of Aztlan, including details on Aztechnology Corporation, the unusual magic practiced by Aztlaner citizens, the Yucatán conflict. This book also details many aspects of life in Tenochtitlán, formerly Mexico City, and provides new rules for Aztlaner magic and Aztechnology corporate personnel for use with Shadowrun's 2nd edition. Now, I apologize for my pronunciation in this. I am very, very British and only speak one language, and I don't speak that one particularly well. So, apologies for bad pronunciation throughout. Now, opening up the cover, the first thing we see is dedicated to the memory of Nigel D. Findlay. Because as we saw on the cover, this is by Nigel D. Findlay, and this was his last Shadowrun book. due to his unfortunate and very, very sad death by heart attack at the age of only 35. I've spoken before how much I love Nigel D. Finlay. His novels were fantastic. All his source books were absolutely brilliant. And this one is no different. It's absolutely amazing. The way it goes between different tones for different sections, it drops in so many ideas. This is still very much in date. While Aztlan has, made territorial gains and different changes to the Shadowrun world, at its core, this book still holds, and quite rightly so. Anyway, Aztlan, we've got the table of contents, the credits page, development, Tom Dowd, Sam Lewis, and Carl Sargent. 3 absolutely brilliant writers. We've got the introduction and welcome to Shadowland. Now, this is very basic compared to the way that Shadowland will be used to introduce Shadowrun books in the future. It offers no real information on future books and what's already available. It looks less than a database, looks more like you're just logging on. Inside the big A. So we've got an introductory section here talking about, welcome to the Secret Treehouse. Of course, it's got lots of the Shadow talk here, where Shadowrunners are offering their advice, including some powerful people. The Laughing Man, who is Harlequin himself, Wordsmith, Aaron the Scribe. So many different powerful players. The Big D, Dunkles and the Dragon, all offering their thoughts on Aztlan and Aztechnology. So, the Civil War. So, talking about the formation of the country, sweep of history. We've got various bits which are marked out as being outdated. The artwork throughout's not absolutely fantastic, I have to say. FASA did have fantastic artwork. This isn't amongst the best, but it's decent. It's still very much high quality. Better than you would get in a lot of. It's just comparing it to their own things. Yucatán Peninsula, circa 1995. So, we don't really get... One of the points that I must criticize in this book is we don't get a decent map of the whole of Aztlan. We get a detailed map of the capital city, but there's not a detailed map of the country, which I think is a bad oversight. And continuing through, talking with a dragon, introductory brief for Operation Libertad. And we've got more on the history, going way back into ancient history. Mayan civilization, talking about all of that, how the culture of modern-day Aztlan is built on the ancient, because they had magical rituals, they had blood magic, and they've been carried over to the modern day. So we're talking about the Mexican-American War, so we're getting more recent. The century turns, chaos and renaissance, establishing a democracy, national growth. And then we've got the chaos that led to the drug cartels being able to seize control. Now, the committee's first message, of course, was to decide precisely what message should be sent and how to deliver it. The Veracruz settlement. Interesting how quiet most of you were during this part. Then we're on to Aztechnology, detailing them, the way the corporation works, its history, how it came out of the cartels. Yep, skip 2 pages there. Ordo and Technopiracy, formation of Aztechnology, how they stole technology to get their start. Came into conflict with the other corporations, a ruling from the corporate court, techniques of control, indirect and direct personal means, so the way they control their people, not just through blood magic, but by blackmailing, by holding family members, ownership of the corporation, management structure, the corporate politics between them and other corporations, Rumours. So we've got lots of ideas in here for adventures dropped. Now, I haven't even commented that until rumour number 5. Key industry segments, what they actually do. Intercorporate relationships. What their security is. Their magical security, their matrix security, their physical security. Their national military, which is also the corporate military. And what equipment they use. Talking about different bases, their ground forces, what military intelligence they've got. You know, human intelligence operatives or metahuman. Other intelligence gathering assets. Different orders of it, because they pattern their military on the ancient Aztec warriors, as we'll see later. Then we're on to religion and magic, because of course following the ancient Aztec gods is the religion of this country. So we've got the deities, rank and file clergy, forms of worship, going through all the elements of taking an ancient religion and bringing it into the modern world. Secret sacrifices. Aztlan and the Catholic Church, because obviously the Catholic Church had a lot of sway in Central and Southern America, which the national religion of Aztlan has taken away. And we've got some colour plates here. Key to aerial security over the Aztechnology pyramid. Feathered serpent. Aztlan soldiers defend against rebel guerrillas in Yucatán. Thomas Roxburgh, circa 2555. An Olontin warrior prepares to cast a spell using blood magic, slicing open somebody's wrist. The streets of Tenochtitlán. I really hope I'm pronouncing that anywhere near normal. A priest of... Nope. Somebody summons a blood spirit. A shaman of Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent. So we've got the different shamans of the different gods here. And a naive mage has an unfortunate encounter with a fauve. Subscription card. Now, give FASA feedback on your book. So, Aztlan magic, the different totems. Blood magic, we go into some details here. The rules aren't until later, and there's not a lot of rules in this. I think it's only something like 10 pages or so, but we'll see at the very back of the book. Fast facts, so we've got various bits of information here. Now, the different sections of the book are detailed by different people. So we've got population demographics, facts at a glance, cultural groups. So we go from getting information about the capital city from a Shadowrunner who lives there, but we get information from UCAS spies or intelligence agencies trying to put people into Aztlan as to how easy it is to access the country. The tone could be very unsettling as it shifts between formal reports to just a Shadowrunner talking away. But it's not. It gives you information, it gives you ideas, giving you a view from all different aspects. So here we are, the getting in. So this is a report from UCAS Consular Operations, internal use only, introduction. So it's formatted as a report with, of course, the shadow talk throughout it. You know, conventional channels are getting in, getting visas, travel by air, getting citizenship, scheduled flights, travel by land, the level of security. And then we've got extraordinary channels, so air insertion, being airdropped into the country. Cross-country insertion, so crossing the borders. Lots of information. Sea insertion. Insertion via the Yucatán, so going in via a war zone. Analysis and recommendation. And then we've got the section Living in Aztlan. As I said, this is a Shadowrunner. So he's talking about life on the streets, the corporations, peasants, what the economy is like, what the currency used. This is much from a more street level. Laws, crime and punishment, what weapons, weapon fines for having different weapons, what the elections, what languages are used, all the very useful stuff. So Mesoamerican languages and groups, we've got the Aztec, the Mayans, the Mixtec, the Tarascan, and then we're on to the capital city, as I've tried a couple of times to pronounce, Tenochtitlan. Again, I have no idea if that's anywhere near the real way of pronouncing it. And we've got breakdown of information here, so vital statistics, government, the different districts within it, how to get around by car, by bus, by monorail, the survival guide, the street scene, so what cool places there are, what clubs and bars where Shadowrunners might be going to get information, fashion, architecture, the emergency services, communications, various entertainment, so what channels can you watch. Absolutely brilliant background information. A games master running adventure in Aztlan, you know, you can get so much in here. And I said there's professional sports, so we go into sections here about soccer, football, what Yucatans call soccer, Aztlaners call football. We've got major players, local talent within it, places of interest, so different hotels, nightclubs, temples, and miscellaneous locations. And then we've got a large spit of talk. Again, the major players here, you know, Erin the Scribe, Harlequin, Dunkelson. And then we're finally onto the section of rules. So, Aztlaner magic. So we've got the different shamanic totems. So iguana, jaguar, plume, serpent, puma. Then we've got blood magic itself, how to use it, requiring the use of a willing or unwilling donor. Blood spirits, summoning them. Corporate personnel, so we've got border agents, border agent combat shaman, standard security guards. Then we've got the leopard and jaguar guards, the sort of special forces. And we've got some various extra equipment we've got here. So the again I can't pronounce anything. Makatui, ceremonial sword, a railgun, a ground attack aircraft, a Zeppelin, a Lobo medium scout car or scout LAV, patrol boat, pursuit RPV, and life effects, so decreased tolerance, increased drain, air pollution, it even goes into how polluted it is, and acid rain. And then we've got the index at the back. As I said, the section of rules is very few pages. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages of rules out of a 180-page book. And then at the very back, we've got a map of the capital city. But no map of the country. As noticed, there wasn't even a small map of the country in there, which is, as I said, annoying oversight. But the rest of the book's so good. There's so many adventure ideas dropped in here, so many little background details which would be fabulous if you're running adventures or even a short campaign in Aztlan. Plus, all these different aspects where you're looking at information from different directions, looking at the ways of getting into the country for slipping in without being noticed, looking at Shadowrun and street level activity in the streets of the capital city, looking at religion and all these aspects, absolutely brilliantly put together. As I've said many times, Nigel D. Findlay sadly missed. A fantastic book for him to go out on. So that was Aztlan, and that won the poll this week with some 33% of the vote. But it wasn't guaranteed to win, because the number 2 and number 3 in the poll this week both were winning at various points of the week. It was very interesting to see, especially in the most popular poll I think I've ever run. We've had about 50% more votes, which has been absolutely fabulous. Now, in second place came Platt's Smuggler's Guide for Star Wars on 23% of the vote. As I said, it was winning at points, but Aztlan and the popularity of Shadowrun just pulled it ahead. But it's Star Wars, so we'll be coming back to it at some point, because I do love myself some West End Games Star Wars stuff. In third position was the Judge Dredd Companion for Judge Dredd from Games Workshop in the 80s. Now that came in on 22%. Now, I've briefly touched on this. I think I spent about 30 seconds in my video on the Judge Dredd role-playing game covering this booklet, or book. It'd be great to go through it in way more detail. In third place, we've got Spycraft from Alderac Entertainment, a full role-playing game using the D20 rules. Now it came on 12%. So languishing quite far behind, but not as far behind as Sourcebook 3 Mindworks for Rifts, which came in on only 10%, which is kind of a shock because Rifts usually does quite well. But I'm guessing the people that like Rifts preferred Shadowrun this week, leading to its triumph. But anyway, as usual, they're all wiped out the poll, and we're clearing the way for a Retro Adventures one. And this week, I'm not doing PDFs, because I'm having some problems with my microphone. It seems to have touched up its sensitivity and just making my voice sound all distorted, but I'll try and get that fixed as soon as possible, and we can go back to covering PDFs. But this week, I've decided to go for some 80s awesomeness. So first up, we've got K for Dawn for 2300 AD. Now that's the box set adventure, came with the game. Now I don't have much 2300 AD stuff, but I'd love to see what the quality of the adventures were, because I did like the setting. It was very interesting, way at a bit nearer current day science fiction than Star Wars and the high-tech stuff that Traveller, for example, tries to do. Second up, we've got San Francisco Knights for Cyborg Commando. Well, this is Cyborg Commando. I've slagged it off a lot in the past, but it was Gary Gygax, so let's see if some of his qualities gleamed through in the adventures, because they certainly didn't in the game. It was laughably bad. Third up, we've got Valley of the Mists for Bushido. Now, Bushido I've covered briefly. It's an older game, and this is the oldest adventure in here. This came out in 1982, so very near the start of role-playing. Now, I covered Palace of the Vampire Queen last week, which absolutely was the first standalone adventure. But this came out only a few years later, so it'd be nice to see how adventures changed in that short period. Then we've got Battle for the Golden Sun for the Star Wars role-playing game. As I said, Star Wars will be back, because I've got a load of stuff and I absolutely adore this game. Now, this adventure isn't one of the more famous ones, but it'd be nice to cover. And finally, also from West End Games, we've got Scared Stiffs. Well, there were 3 adventures that came out for the original Ghostbusters role-playing game. I've covered one of them, Ghost Toasties, which people thought was hilarious because it was just kind of weird. It'd be nice to cover this one and eventually go on to the final one, Hot Rods of the Gods. Covering all 3 of these adventures, because I've read through them loads of times. They are absolutely brilliant. Very much the humour of Paranoia, which West End Games did so well, but using the rule system of Star Wars, which is quick, fast-paced, and very, very playable. Another channel-related stuff, well, this week I've been bringing out books of monsters for Cyberpunk, Shadowrun, Modern Horror, and Fantasy. I'll be continuing with this kind of theme the next couple of weeks, and villains, because I'm enjoying creating some horrible things for people to face. If you're interested in those at all, there's a link to the Drive-Thru RPG down below, or if you're a patron of Laird or Librarian status, I put all of these on a shared Google Drive for you to get access to free of charge. Over on RPG Gamer, well, we're continuing with Ahsoka. We're now down to the second last episode. So next week I'll be getting to cover the finale and then statting out all the characters from it. But I'm also alternating that with the episodes of Young Jedi Adventures, which were only released about a month ago. Now, it's a very childish show, but there's some fun stuff in there, and statting it out's amusing me somewhat. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough as usual. So thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.